Apologize for being a tiny bit late here. I was finishing up in the garden, um, and I was running out of daylight, so I had to do what I had to do. But I figured I would come on here. I know it's getting a little bit later. I'm going to be leaving tomorrow around noon as we're going on a little vacation. I'm going to bring all my work supplies with me, so I'm still going to be present. Um, But right now, we had a very volatile breakdown in the way it had to. This is what needed to happen. We went into the just over $3.60 range for XRP. It had a very volatile spike and back test, at least short term. We didn't really come down like to the 20-day or anything, but we did back test the break of all-time highs. And we're trying to back test, and this is what we talked about when it first went over. We would, and we're in discovery. This is supposed to be over here. I don't know why it's way up there. But this gets you into discovery. You know, when you're in this area, you're in discovery. So it could make it very volatile. So that's what we're going to be watching for now, to see if we can get this big push up. And what could happen is all of a sudden we could find ourselves hitting that $4 area from this setup right now. It could legitimately bring us up to like $4, $4.12. It probably won't be able to give us enough steam to $5 plus on this push if it were to happen. But the reverse side of this is, if it did break back down, there's a looming gap. Probably you'd look at that 250 area, but I don't think that would be the first area you would go to. I think you would first be like, there's going to be a real strong base around that $3 area. So I don't think it's gonna, hopefully it gives it like a little bit of a fight if it goes down there. But right now we're looking to see if we can get that push up, or if this is just gonna be a quick rejection and we just come right back down like that. That's the possibility. I'm hoping that's not the case, that it just gives it all back. But it seems to me that we're back testing right now, and it's not just XRP. The whole market back tested in a very big way. Ethereum, you know, some people are a little nervous because of what it did. Ethereum needed a little cool off here. It had such a big move. But if it built up something that's not sustainable, we'll know in a little bit. I haven't sold any of my positions or anything like that. Because I really want to play these out until they force me out. I'm not going to ride them 70% down. Like, even I want to hold XDC forever, but I won't ride it 60% down. But I'll ride it until its formation completely breaks. And then I'll just rebuy it when it gets lower, and I'll get more shares or tokens. But I want to see what this ends up doing. They came up. And now we're starting to back test these moves out of the golden cross in the 4-hourly. Like, everything that I drew out filled out now. So that now they've come up to the area we had drawn out. And this is, again, where I always struggle, especially in the short term, because of all the manipulation. Because it came up into the areas. Like, ACH hasn't. Like, this has not even come up to that 2.7. Theta at least came up. And now it can backtest and do some work. Filecoin at least, well, it almost came up. It's about as close as you could come. It was close. But we're starting to see if we're going to backtest the further move up. And I think that's what we're probably working on. But with all the stuff that happens in the geopolitical, with all this stuff happening with the landscape of, like, I think some of you have seen with, like, geopolitical stuff today in Canada and stuff, and all this, let's just call it tomfoolery that's going on. That can have an impact on risk assets, and we are dealing with the riskiest asset of them all here. I mean, for XRP, I mean, this is what it has to do. For the rest of them, they're acting bull market-esque, but we can't be certain yet because they can't seem to get over these big things, these big areas. I don't know if it'll share it on here, but we could see it because I live in Michigan. They talked about it. Canada. I don't know how to phrase it on here. It was on the border. Yes, that's it. With the backpacks. Whoops. But it was more than that. There was like a backpack, and they were talking about explosives and all this bullshit. Maybe I'll just type Canada border, see what happens. Eight hours ago, derailment at closed near Summit's border crossing. No, I don't care about a train derailment. There's always some kind of derailment when something's actually going on. Hey, I guess this is when I can ask Gemini, make it go through all this stuff. This is the only time AI is useful. Stuff like this, you can just have it go through.
As of Friday, July 18th, 2025, there are no reports of a specific propane tank incident at the Canadian border. There have been past incidents involving propane.
Oh, I didn't see it on my local news, but somebody who came across my feed on something that I know in Canada, and they started sharing stuff, and I'm like, well, it was something. It's not even showing it anywhere. See, it's always a local blackout until they want you to see it. But I guess I'll stop talking about it on the fact that I'll get banned. Yep, XDC did replace DGB on the home screen. The bottom line is if we're looking at this and we ask ourselves, where's it breaking down? I mean, we're getting into a point here now where it's going to get spicy. You know, it's going to get spicy, that's for sure. And we're going into a thinly traded weekend. You know what my fear is right here? And this is the only reason that I'm trying to convince myself not to sell out of my positions and then just wait for one more thing to happen, because I could see it coming back down and testing this golden cross. I really could. But that would be a risky proposition here. I don't know. I kind of feel uncomfortable holding our positions right now, if I'm being honest, going into the weekend. How many of you would be mad if I sold our positions going into the weekend? I'm talking about the group traders in here, because I think I'm thinking going into the weekend with what I'm seeing here, unless it allows me, I don't know. I'm thinking that that's the road I might go. The only thing I'm going to be mad about is the fact I didn't capitalize on some profit. It's just, it's giving me vibes right now of reversal here in the dailies. And if these pull down, if I'm being honest, because the golden cross has started pushing up, we should back test the 20 cross and the 50 here. You know, I should have been wiser to that earlier. I'm almost mad at myself for not paying attention to that. And we haven't lost. We're down cumulatively. If I sold all three positions, we'd be plus 25. What? Yeah, plus $25 right now. Because it's the weekend. Now, I will say, yeah, everything looks like it's coming to, and it looks like over the weekend they could fuck with us a little bit. That Bitcoin's below that line, like it's a fake out. Fuck. And we know Ethereum has to have some kind of consolidation here. It's way overextended. Unless it just goes right to the next layer. It's not that I'm not trying to kill your buzz. Because I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. Because I don't know if I want to sell. Because I have two different things in my head. And this is the core. This is the group trades. To stop everybody from getting a bit. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Oh, that's a massive breakdown by Bitcoin dominance, though. I didn't say... No. I didn't say I was selling XDC. I said I was selling... I was talking about the group trades. If I was doing something. I'm just looking at what's going on the charts. That's all. I do this every weekend. And in my own personal position, sometimes I liquidate on the weekends. If they're swing trading. But I don't know. I see this as... Just because of how volatile it is, I don't think I want to sell the group trades either yet. Because my gut's telling me we haven't finished the moves ultimately, so don't have the very short-sighted. We'll see right now if we hold the areas, because these are so built out that they're close to getting a big movement here, and it'd be a shame to sell out and wait for something shorter just for it to go back up. It would make perfect sense, though, to try to scare us going into a weekend. That's the thing, like, I could see them also trying to scare us out before a weekend with thinly traded volume. This works two ways here. Because if we're kind of at that point where in these patterns, it's either gonna bring it back up, or this is the start of the further drop here. Man, it followed up perfectly. We've already back tested all of these areas too. Like, that's the 30 minutes at the 200 day, so nothing wrong yet. This hasn't even come through the 200 day. It's an early one to get there, I think, with File. The two of them got there a little earlier. Yeah, see? So you got on the 200 day, if you're meant to hold and not break down here, 200 should hold, and then it should rotate back up. However, if it's meant to break down here, you're talking about that $2.50 firm. That's where it gets a little tricky, right? We just don't want to make an overzealous move. We technically did backtest this right here too on the strong wick down. So it's not like we haven't backtested this looming bullish cross here in the daily. And we can see it looks like a massive setup for a big breakup. Couldn't it just chop through Mercury retrograde? I mean, you never know. Big Dog says something is going on because we got all the good news for crypto this week. It's true. Something behind the scenes is going on. I just like, we're going to go over and evaluate these one by one and see if we find some kind of narrative that we start going through. So we know that these are a little bit ahead of these, right? This list is a kind of a little bit behind. So if we kind of take it from what we're seeing on the page in front of us that is a little bit ahead, day after a drop yesterday, what are they doing? Well, algo's down another 1.7 so far, 1.9 for IOTA. Bitcoin stabilized a little bit. Ethereum's down 0.75% here on the flip. XRP's up 0.75%. XLM's up 0.25%. XDC, which is down 2.9%, which being behind you would expect. And this is why I asked the question, because these are just crossing and doing all this. Is this where they could come down and do something? But then again, you go back here and they already did it. So it almost feels like to me, unless we get a big sell candle here, it's a tough spot there. Like, it's a tough spot to say, is it just going to fall through and retest lower? Because when I go to these other charts, they didn't even do that. You know, they didn't even have to go down there yet. So I find it hard to believe that some of these other ones would do it by themselves. DGB got up to the daily and now struggling just a little bit. But this is what you would do. You go up to it, you come back down through it, and then you kind of tease. You know, it's a tease. The XDC XRP pairing, it's consolidating the reversal right now, which makes sense. This is what it should do. And at some point here soon, though, it should start reversing back in XDC's favor if it's meant to continue moving up in the immediate short term. Flow, the monthly RSI and XDC looks huge. Like, huge in a good way, or huge in a bad way, like we're about to roll over way. And like, we know the long-term perspective here. It's not, we're not talking long-term. We're talking micro right now with these charts. The other part that sucks about this is when we talk about some of these, we're like, okay, this would be the area that if it does double top here, we might have to worry. And of course, XLM does it right there. And I circled it where it would be, and then it ends up coming up there. It took a little longer, and then it gets rejected there. So that's why it's tough, because all these spots, XRP ran through, right? And it's back tested. And maybe it's the early outlier here because it's looking like it's trying to reverse in this 4-hourly, but we don't know yet. This is still a very long candle to go. The other problem is, if you're looking at some kind of catalyst, you're like, all right, we need a big volume spike. Well, we had some volume come in, but we need bigger volume if we want to have a bigger continuation. And XRP is at that point where it's like, did we just backtest for the bigger move? And I'm not saying to sell anything. I'm just saying we're looking at this both ways. I like to talk it through, because when I talk it through, I see it. But I can't just talk the bullish side. I have to talk both sides. So when I start looking at all of this, we do seem to be fighting it off good. And now, like, XRP Healthcare was down yesterday on the candle. Now on the flip, or earlier today, now on the flip, it's up 3.4%. So that's what I mean. Like, it almost looks like they could have been trying to force us out. No one will be mad. Do what you feel is good. Tom, thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor, and also the $1.99 donation, George. I really appreciate that. No, I know. I know no one would be mad. I was just kind of talking it out. I'm not doing anything rash. It's got to do something to punch me in the nuts. Hasn't quite happened yet. Alec Tony, thanks for being in Tom's Army for your 2nd month with the Dusty's Autos Crypto News. Said, make a decision you won't regret later. Also, a $1.99 donation. No, I agree with that. I will definitely make a decision. Let's see. Kryptonian said, yep, want you to sell, and it'll get scooped up. Yep. It's kind of what it feels like. You just always have that extra bit of caution going into a weekend because it doesn't take as much drama, you know, to kind of punch you. But look now, this is where I've been watching it all day. Like they'll be down 2 to 5%, and then they bounce right back, and then they go back down and bounce right. It's like it's almost like they're teasing us. It's like this with all of them too. Like if I was looking at this as a top on a pattern, I would say, "Oh shit, that's a triple top." I'd say that's a big top right there. Like this probably isn't good for this asset. If it came down and went boom, boom, boom. But now you look at it in the other direction for IOTX and you're like, well, it looks like we bottom 1, bottom 2, bottom 3. Almost like we inverse head and shouldered on the 3 bottoms. I know I haven't talked about IOTX, but I always vowed I would when it was the right time. And it might be that week. That's the other thing that gets me. Like, I can't sell these. And this is the other, honest to God truth. When you look at the weekly candle, and like I said, unless it breaks down, which it hasn't shown us that yet, how could you sell this? That weekly candle's engulfing. We only got 2 days basically left, 1 day and 23 hours. Into a thinly traded weekend, we very well could break out here. Some say I hate this game. No, don't hate it, Flo. We love this game. This is why we talk it out. Ghost, what are you doing? Somebody said I've tried withdrawing my XDC 3 times a day from BITUNIX and they keep rejecting it. I've never tried withdrawing XDC on BITUNIX. Huh. I don't know why that is. Because I've sent stuff as recently as yesterday and it worked just fine. So I don't know why. So there's problems with withdrawing. Did you guys try to figure out why? Well, that's interesting to know. Well, that's keep me updated on that. That's definitely something interesting to know. Interesting. Very interesting. It always starts somewhere with these exchanges, doesn't it? Looks like I'm going to have to keep my eye open. I've been testing another one just in case. But the difference with this next one is, I don't know how interested you guys would be, but I haven't talked about it, but it's an AI integrated trading platform. Kind of like for the next chapter. It's been around, but I haven't talked about it, but I might have to go look at that too. Well, I'm gonna do more research on that other exchange, and I'll get back to everybody. I've been doing the same case studying I used to do with BITUNIX. So I'm definitely gonna look a little bit deeper and start trading some funds on this other one a little bit more dedicated to see exactly what the fee count is, like a little higher stakes, just like I did with BITUNIX, because it makes sense. After a while, that always happens. So I'll let you guys know about this other exchange. I'm always trying to stay a step ahead. I'm glad you guys are letting me know just in case, you know, something is starting to go down with BITUNIX. We have to have our next strategy. So I'll talk about this other exchange coming up in the near term. Maybe the genius bill, since they're going to implement KYC. Well, with the genius bill, with what they wrote in, they actually make it to where you don't have to do that with the exchanges. They pulled back on the regulation talk. And within the Genius bill, I mean, it makes it to where stable coins and stuff. The bill was more about stable coins than anything. Huh. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, what happened to me before, guys, and I'll tell you what happened to me on Albank with DGB 2 days ago or whatever. When I tried to send it, it failed. When there was high volatility, when I tried to send it through the wallet. And then I did it again in low volatility and it went fine. Something about the trading pools or whatever. Liquidity issues. But yeah, I guess it happens. But I've been seeing a lot of comments on Gemini Exchange but haven't checked it out. But listen, even if they implement KYC, BITUNIX is not going to be part of that. They're not part of the USA structure. So, for the most part in the US, if you're a USA exchange, you already have to do KYC. Would I consider a Canadian exchange? Depends if I could use it or not. You know? But there's a lot of changes coming and it's not good. I told you. All these regulations are not good for us. It's going to eventually get in the way. But like I said, I'm not selling shit. They're going to have to scare me away. I was just having an active discussion with everybody. And I like to talk it through. These are the same discussions I would have if I wasn't talking to you guys. But they're going to have to force me out, like I said before. It seems like to me they're trying to bully us before a thinly traded weekend where they could actually make it surge a little bit because there's not as much volume. But we'll see. Would you say XRP 60 minute is breached, broken out of both? I'm not really too interested in the 60 minute. But I would say from the weekly perspective, we've broken out of this pattern setup. And now we, in theory, if this plays out properly, we should be able to find ourselves at that big target we had. I don't know how long it's going to take at $5.49. I really don't. But it seems like we could start to transcend towards that area. If not part of the USA, by next year they stated you won't be able to withdraw funds. Yeah, that's our like withdraw funds where your bank account. My friend, I'm just trying to get on the same page with you, Flo. You wouldn't be able to send money to your bank account from that exchange, or you wouldn't be able. I'm just trying to figure out what. So we're on the same page, or living the dream. If not part of the USA by next year, they stated you won't be able to withdraw funds. Interesting. Like I said, crypto might run its course faster for us than you think. Because if they put all these implementations in, you think the liquidity is going to go up magically, or do you think it's going to go down? I'm just being honest. If they put all of these regulations in and all of this stuff to force you to identify yourself, even the ones that don't want to be identified, do you think they're going to keep? Do you think they're going to keep trading crypto, or are they going to go to the next thing? And do you think they'll sell out before that implementation goes in? Like, all these people that don't want to be tracked, if that's the case, they're going to just sell out before it happens. Like, are you saying you wouldn't be able to, like, if I had 10,000 tokens of something on exchange X, but they're no KYC exchange, are you saying that you wouldn't be able to send it to an exchange of yours that is already KYC approved? Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, the scariest word you'll ever hear. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. I'm telling you, my crypto journey, like the way I do it, is going to come to an end sooner than I really want it to. And it's going to suck. But we'll see. We'll see how it actually works out. These no KYC exchanges and the ones that do it the way they do it. Okay, I love you. I'm almost done. I'll be done in a little bit. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a nightmare in this field. Well, it's because listen, what's happening right now is up until now, you're basically self-reporting unless you're on an exchange like crypto.com and Binance and the ones that report individuals, right? Your individual tax deal. Most of the exchanges, what they don't tell you, and this is why most tax advisors tell you not to report crypto if they don't send you a statement, or if it says that you are the one who has to self-report, because on most of them, you get a thing in the mail and it says that the exchange, they actually, on their taxes, which is bullshit because this shouldn't even be legal, they actually include us all as one entity. It's all one big transaction, they're telling the government. And it's all big one plus minus from the pool. Defined, if you consider the people that need the government to hold their hand have no money. That's the other side of this. If the government's holding your hand, you're broke. You're the guy driving a fancy car with a $700 car payment because everybody thinks you're cool. You're the guy who has a house you can't afford. You're wearing clothes you certainly can't afford. Yeah, I see these people all the time. They don't have a pot to piss in. And they've leased their whole entire lifestyle. They certainly don't have any money to put in crypto. Yeah, no, that, remember what I said, guys? Remember what I said my journey in crypto was? 28 to 32. By 32, I was guaranteed out, but it could be as soon as 28. That's because of this. Exactly what you're talking about. So we legitimately have 3 years left. Once that KYC is fully implemented in 28, because that's the part I was waiting for. Now I know you know what you're talking about, because that's what it said. By 28 is when you could expect this to go into effect. Ironically, after Trump's term, which is why it's adding 28. Think about it. Trump will be out, they'll put in a Democrat, and they'll act like they're the hard ass. No, I mean, the people won't jump. Oh, by then it wouldn't even matter if they jump in. It's not, crypto's not going to be the same game after the regulate. I'm telling you, Defined, when you start to regulate markets like this, you lose the casino-like atmosphere. That's the problem. But I understand what you're saying. I actually agree with you when you say it like that. More people would be willing, now that the government's holding their hand, to actually put some of their liquid cash. That makes sense. Tether is now the largest purchaser of U.S. treasuries. Oh, absolutely. They got to print money like that. That's why I think what's happening is happening now. I think what's going to end up happening, and nobody's going to be exempt, not XRP, not anybody, not Bitcoin. I think what's going to happen one day is we're going to get such a big liquidity crunch from all of this bullshit that's happening, and people are running out of money right now in the USA. Like, I don't know how many of you realize it, but if you have 10 people down the street, 9 of them are in a credit crunch right now. Every single person on your block likely has a house payment. Those fancy cars in the driveway, they have a car payment that is excessive. They have no fundamental formidable savings because they live in the moment and they have no idea what real money is. And they trade crypto like it's the last resource on earth. Well, when you start doing stuff like this, eventually the Ponzi of it all starts to circulate itself. And right now, this is going to be, I told you, enjoy this now. I said it before this pump started last week. Enjoy what's coming. Don't worry about what comes after. Just enjoy this and make the money now. I've never said this more than I have the last, just enjoy it now. What do I think XRP will go up to? Well, if it plays true out of this, it'll go up to our target when this market started. And our target was, you can see against Bitcoin, it looks like it wants to break out for XRP as well. The last one we showed before that. Market cap looks like it wants to get up to that 253 billion like we've been targeting. XRP Bitcoin pairing's breaking out in the weekly. So that looks like it wants to go up to that 5110. How big of a move is that right now? That's over 100%, I believe. Oh, 75%. You got 669, but you got a lower level before that on this chart. It would be $5. Well, you have 482 in front, but $5.58, somewhere in that range, if this were to break up. And it should. I'm going to get rid of these for ease of seeing. This should break. I mean, in time it should. I mean, it might not do it right away. But this is set up like that unless the only other thing that it could be set up for, and I'm not looking for this to happen at all. But I suppose if we're for transparency, we should talk about it. The only other thing that could happen is it came up and this ends up being top 1, top 2, and then it just rotates and you're like, son of a bitch. That's one thing I suppose could happen. And yeah, there was a gap left here at 250. Here at 150. So is it impossible? No, never say it's not impossible. It'll break 70. No, it's not going to do it this bull run. I doubt it. I said in time it's going to break 79. I don't know how long that's going to take. Even if no, it's highly unlikely that it's going to do that in this bull market. Unless it's the real bull market and it ends up breaking out. Well, yeah. Then if it ends up taking max capacity and actually 10x, well, yeah, then you could start talking that range. You know, did we think XRP could go from 38 to 340 in the bull run? I did. I thought when it actually started to move, it would break these levels and get to where it's at and then try to push. But I didn't know if it would hit 340, 360, $4, have a massive pullback, and then start using an area like $1.50 as the new base. Even after a big move up to $4, if it could come back down to $1.50 and hold, or even $2.50, but try to form a real base there, it would form a very big broadening wedge too, which I haven't talked about. But if you start looking at what this has formed, we could argue, and we won't know yet because this is only the second time up. And I'm hoping, personally, I don't really want it to be this scenario, and I didn't want to talk about it yesterday because we were in the moment. So I figured I'm not talking about this. I'm going to get lynched. But if it doesn't break out of this, and let's just say we get rejected, you could start talking about broadening wedge. And then somebody would say, well, Tom, what the fuck are you talking about? How could 97 cents be back on the table? Well, start thinking about the gap area we left before the very push up that started this whole thing. The original thing I got mad about, and I'm hoping this just blows past it. That's why I said no tops here and we won't have to worry about this and we'll go to 549 at least, which is what I want. I would love to make 20 grand here real quick. No joke. Like, it would feel really, really good. But this is the other scenario now if we actually do this. And then you can see something is forming here in the weekly. And a broadening wedge is defined by 2 hits on each side, confirms the pattern. And usually what ends up happening, once you confirm the pattern, you don't, like, okay, so we had 1 hit here, 1 hit here. Came back up, 2 hits here. Now when we came back around, if this ends up being a second hit, you would find yourself either coming all the way back down, which ironically is in that lower gap area, or you'd have 2 areas. You'd have that, well, 3 actually. $3, $2.50, $1.50, and you could bounce out. And it's like, is that crazy? I hope so. I hope it doesn't take that. I'll keep this up just in case this does end up being a rejection point. But that would mean some kind of event has to happen. That's the thing. Unless something bad happens here, we have momentum. That's what I mean. Like, I don't know. I hope this just soars out of here. And I've given us the very bullish scenario here too. But I would have felt remiss not to tell you the other side of this if this does not get out of here. But I'm still living on the coattails that we're gonna get out of here. Well, that this is gonna happen. So until it proves me otherwise, that's what we're going with. We're gonna break out. Oh, I know, Flo. I know. And it's funny because XRP looks like XDC in the short term, but XDC looks like XRP in the long term before XRP had its parabolic spike, which is so crazy. Oh, yeah, right now it's reacting remarkably well. Well, the good news was it wasn't the first time to come up to all-time highs. We just did this a few months ago, not as high, but we at least came up to that area to clear out everybody. You know, so we did what we needed to do on the way back up at least. Now it's the critical moment. Like, can we get out of here? If we get out of here, it's going to be something. It's going to be something. If all of these get out of here, it's really going to be something. Right now, though, it's starting to reverse like we started talking about in the beginning. The exact reason why I wouldn't do anything on a thinly traded weekend. You kind of committed yourself. Let's see. I like where we're at right now. Let's see. As long as we don't get some big, enough sell pressure to invoke a drop on a thinly traded weekend, we should be fine here. Like, XRP should be fine. We should be fine here. XDC is going to be fine. But if you guys are, some people are talking about how XDC, how it did that after it came up. Because it did this, came up. So you look at that from that regard. And then you look at XRP. There is an argument to be made, and that's what I was trying to make without making it, that if it doesn't break out of here, there's some scenarios that could take place here for XRP. There are some very big scenarios that could take place here. But yeah, if you're looking at it from an XDC standpoint, I mean, it's hard. You got to go out farther, but if you go to the weekly, you can see how it did what XDC did. Except it's slightly different. Because XDC, remember, it's doing what you're talking about and mimicking XRP, but look at this. This is left, head, right, breakout, down, back up. When you look at XDC, I can show you the clear difference. XDC, W, back down. It hasn't come back up yet like XRP. Like, XRP's come back up now. So technically, XDC is behind XRP. And if it comes up and catches up to XRP, it'd be at 15 cents plus. Actually, if it catches up to XRP, XDC would be probably at the 20-cent range. Oh, I agree, Ken. That's why I've always been on the ISO and IoT tokens. And that's also why I took advantage of IOTX where it's at, and I almost forgot about it. And then when it came back into my vision in the last 24 hours or so, somebody said something in one of my lives, and when they said it, it sparked my memory, and I kind of had this like Jimmy Neutron moment where I just stopped, and I'm like, if anybody watched Jimmy Neutron, you know what happened when he thinks. And so I'm like, Tom, you've been watching this for years, this token. You're going to just let it... So, I was going to put even more into XDC, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep buying XDC. But for this time, I bought 100,000 of IOTX. My philosophy is anything under 5 cents or 4 cents, You want to buy 100,000 tokens. If you, anything under 10 if you can. Anything under 50 cents, you should at least have 10,000 tokens. Even up to like 75 cents if you can. And then once you get up a little higher, then it starts to break down in different ways. What was I looking at? I can't remember. Oh, IOTX. IOTX, 102,229. So right now I've got 215,000 XDC, 222,000 data, 4 million dent, 102,229 IOTX, 200 and something thousand VeChain, 100,000 ZIL, and then I have our group trades as well. Oh wait a minute, I also have Axelar and Axelar and Casper. So I still have exposure there too. Well, I have my XRP healthcare and XRP, but I'm talking about like what's on BITUNIX. The other stuff that I don't talk about isn't on BITUNIX and it's not for sale. Like XRP and XRP healthcare is not for sale. I don't give a fuck what happens. It's not for sale. One, I'm XRP future millionaire, and two, it's not for sale. It's been too wild of a ride to let it go now at 3. You know, it's just been too wild of a ride. Now, if I had some balls, I would sell it all and put it into XDC. But again, you know, it's all about perspective here. My perspective is by doing what I did with XRP, it's giving me the forward vision of what to do with others. So hey Flo, I showed you the scenario where that can happen to get under $1, unfortunately. $1.50 would make sense, so that's why I said if we could have $1.50 be our new point, so like how we would go into bull markets and then we'd come back down under $1 and under 50 cents and under 40 cents every time and under 30. This time we didn't have to go under 20. We came close. What if XRP now after these big runs, and we don't know how high it goes, maybe it does end here, we don't know. But what if now $1.50 becomes the base? That's a huge, huge move up. Because now imagine the next bull run. If $1.50 is the base, and I'm talking about a reset for a crypto winter for a year or two, and then the next time we come out, instead of it going up from 35 or 30 to 340, you're talking about going from $1.50 to 15. I'm all for that too. We got nothing but time anyhow. Well, actually, we need this to happen sooner with all these regulations in 28. That's what I'm saying. They could fuck us. Imagine the ultimate bull market and we can't get our fucking money out. Or you can't trade it until you get it in, well, you know, you get the mark. Right? I'm not saying it's guaranteed we're going to hit. I'm just saying if we did. So what will Ripple be doing for the next year that keeps the price down? This thing is going to fly soon. We will all be wealthy and happy. Wait for the banks. Hey, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying I throw out every scenario. This is exactly why we're able to get to where we go, because we know all of the objectives. We know when something hits the wrong spot and we know when something's about to go crazy. We know all of the scenarios right now. All I'm showing you are the different scenarios. I already know where I think it's going, to $5.49. That was before this market bull run started. And then I didn't know, would we go to $5.49, back test $3.40? You know, and the way it's going, we could go to $5.40 and only have to back test who knows where. We don't know. Bear market has not been kind ever. No, that's exactly why I always show what can happen when the run's over. And that doesn't mean the run of the coin's over. Just because Bitcoin would go from 30,000 to 8,000 or 70, or what was it, 56,000 back to 12. Did that mean it didn't come up to 120? No, that's not what it meant. It just meant in bear markets, the piper's got to get paid, folks. And we are not the piper. And the biggest way to get paid is to have everybody either get liquidated, lose a bunch of money, sell in fear, and then have them buy back with way less money in a way different style market in the next run, or continue to buy a falling knife, which is usually what happens. And then by the time the knife is done falling on you, you're so cut up, you bleed out right when the your help is there. Like they're literally at the door, but you bleed out, even though the knife's done falling. That's what happens in crypto. It happened before this rally up. There was a lot of people that were leverage trading or they were spot trading, but they were just buying on the drop during the whole 60 to 70% after that top in December or January. They bought it the whole way down, and by the time it got down to where they wanted, when it rallied and now it's had this rally, they're just trying to break even. See, that we're trying not to just break even, we're trying to break out. And when I say break out, I mean break out of the matrix and the 9 to 5. Nobody wants that 9 to 5. Nobody. I'm happy with what I'm seeing. We're 51 minutes in. I'm happy as hell. XRP, I still think, is set up unless it has some kind of breakdown and this scenario plays out, which the only reason I show it is because you have to show them all. But if we break out of this and let's go to the better scenario, then we start to talk about, okay, well, we could get up to 450, maybe 549 in this next little movement. And that's what I prefer. Believe me, I want it. I can taste this. Ooh, yeah. Oh man, I can taste this move. And I don't want to salivate on it any longer. I want this move more than I've wanted a lot in a long time. And it's not because I don't think we can make money outside of XRP. It's because we deserve this money out of XRP. Oh yeah, or Ethereum, I mean, is definitely it's a gatekeeper right now. And it's flipped back into the green here on this beautiful Friday evening. Joseph Euler, thanks for not only being in Town Zone for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor, but also a $20 donation. Thank you so much for that, my friend. I really appreciate it. Where do I think XLM can go? Big. We've talked about XLM about it's behind XRP where it was at in October. This is where XRP was at in November. Well, when it first started the leg up in November, this is where XRP was at. And now XRP's about here. So if XLM gets to where XRP's at, you should be up at about 85 cents. So, that's the other thing. That's the other part of this. I swung in and out of XLM so many times that it afforded me a lot of other opportunities. Well, I mean, I held XLM for a long time. But this time around, I kind of decided more on XDC, but it still doesn't seem right not to have exposure to XLM if it goes to the next layer. Because once this happens, 46 cents is one thing, but getting up to the next level puts XLM somewhere around 80 cents if it gets up to that point. But first, we do have a stop on the way at, where's the stop? No, we really don't. We don't have a big stop. I think it's up, yeah, right here. 61 cents would be the stop along the way. And again, we're trying to figure out, are these the topping reversals here, or is this just the consolidation point before the next big jump? I prefer it to be the stopping point before the next big jump, personally. But to each their own. But I think XLM can go very high. Very high. And relative to where, to XLM's point. But I think it's undervalued. Let's see. What do we see out of data? We haven't talked about data yet this evening. I mean, data's back testing its breakout. I mean, look how big this would be. Data would be one of the biggest movers in this cycle if it actually happens. I mean, maybe not the biggest, but eventually this is going to have just to get back up to that resistance way over the top. And this is building something ginormous. And when you start looking at it, it's like, this is fucking ridiculous if it ever did play out. Because this would build a massive cup over the top. And then when you measure the cup in the back, I mean, the potential of this target is endless. Because if you actually break out of that third resistance, if we ever get back up there, and it's pointing to where we're going to get back up there. I'm telling you, this is going to be, I really believe this is going to be like, remember how MXC and ZBEC, we ran it? And on several occasions, we had 4 to 6x on them. I think on one of them, it was like 2 to 3x that happened real quick. But that's what this is setting up for. And this is an IoT token, just like MXC, which was Moonchain. And this is what we've been targeting for a while since those MXC and ZBEC moves. This was our next big thing once it got to the right spot. And I think we hammered in the right buy. But we'll see if it pans out. I don't think we're done. It's just we can't own it all right now. Nope, same Define. I don't think we're done either, but I can't, even if I wanted to, I can't possibly buy everything I want to. So I put a lot of faith in the XDC for sure, because in my opinion and in my heart, it tells me it's gonna follow XRP, if not surpass it, and how fast it's moving at some point because of how undervalued it is. So there's a lot to be spoken for being undervalued. Eventually, you start to catch up to the road, no matter how far behind you are. But yeah, I gotta go help Julie though, because she's about to go to bed. I really appreciate all of you. Hopefully, we're in for a volatile weekend to the upside. I'll do as many updates as I can while I'm gone. I'll be here every single day. Tomorrow, I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow, even though I don't usually go on Saturdays, because I'm not gonna work out Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday because I travel back Tuesday, and I'm not working out Sunday, Monday when I'm on vacation. So I'm gonna go to the gym I'm gonna get up at 7 tomorrow. Go to the gym. I'll do my short on the way to the gym. Assuming everything's going okay, I'll probably do a live tomorrow morning, hopefully before 9 o'clock or right around 9. We'll do a live, and then I'll do some shorts and stuff like that. We'll see what kind of connection I have, and then we'll go from there. So, yeah, I appreciate it, everybody. I think we're just getting started in a sense. Long term, we haven't seen anything yet. The only thing that always scares me long term is how much of our soul are we going to have to give to be a part of this? And let's just say between 28 and 32. And I'm not giving any of my soul. So the moment it becomes too much, I'm still going to talk. Even if I wasn't invested, I'm still going to talk about this every day because I'm fascinated by these charts and this community and things like that. But we'll see. I don't want to talk the pessimistic route because we still have lots of potential here with XRP. We still have lots of time. It's only mid-2025. Don't get too caught up with what's going to happen in 28. So just let this play out. The good news is right now for us is they step back the enforcement of all those new tax agents when it comes to crypto, and your brokers, the exchanges don't technically have to report you right now. They eased off on that. Unless they're an exchange that's an entity that, they have to report individuals. The way they do it sometimes when you do a KYC. But they did, they pulled back on a lot of that stuff. And my fear is in 28, once they go back to the other part, it's all a game, but once they go back to the other side of things, I think that's when they're going to go full blown. So let's enjoy it while we can. Let's see what the weekend has in store. Just keep an eye open. Keep one eye open and see if they don't try. If we don't get a run up here, today or into early tomorrow, just keep your eyes open around Asia hours tonight, the Asian markets, or at least on that side of the world, to see if they inject some capital into these tokens. And then we'll see. We'll see. We'll reevaluate it tomorrow because I want to see if they don't try something frisky here and try to frisk us up a little bit. It's something that I'm seeing right now. And I can pretty much, and the weeklies, they look okay. Big time, because they look like they're still working on that back test. It's just in the dailies I'm kind of seeing, and that's why we need to get up here pretty quickly. I could see in the daily. It goes either way, though. I could see a reversal starting, though, so let's just pay attention. That's an awfully big wick up here to be pulling back down this far on all of these. This one, I mean, it went all the way back down and pulled back up. So, I mean, you can see we're showing some strength, too. So, it's going to be a shit show or it's going to be a blessing. We'll see what happens. Either way, we'll be in it together. So,